Episode 10 of the Jocks and Jills podcast presented by CCM. Tessa, we have officially entered the double digits. It's
I know,
getting
I had to
real.
double check when you said that.
I know. It's
Look
getting
at my
real.
notes.
We are
Goodness.
a 10-year-old child, and how have we made it 6 seconds into this episode without you going OHIO?
Well, that's the thing. You threw me off. I was ready to just start blasting our marching band's music. Way
Go
to
ahead.
go, Buckeyes.
Get on your soapbox.
OHIO. We are national champions, NCAA champs. Joy Dunn. Sister plays in the PWHL with Joy. She plays for the Buckeyes. Rookie of the year. Scores the game-winning goal in the third period. I don't even know how I have nails left. I was like, I'm not going to lie. I agreed to go to a neighbor's house for dinner, and I'm like, okay, I got a PWHL game to watch, and I got, this Ohio State game to watch. So I literally walked in. I was like, full disclosure, I'm going to be on my phone watching hockey games the whole time I'm here. So
Yeah.
can someone watch my kids?
That's actually such a good ploy. You go there, you have a social gathering, you pass off your kids.
Their son Theo, he's an older Theo. Their
Nice.
son was into it. He's like, "What school did you play for? What color are they? Who are we cheering for?" He kept coming back. He'd play for a bit, come back, he'd check in. He's like, "What's the score? Is it still 0-0?" I'm like, "Yeah, buddy." He's like, "Oh man," he left, come back. His little brother Elliot was into it. He's watching. I'm like, I'm recruiting some Buckeye fans here.
Nice. Have you
anyways,
heard
and
from
then
any of
they
the girls? The celebration?
No, I texted Muzzy, Nadine Muzzeral, just to give her the old way to go. She was she's awesome, man. She gets it.
Yeah.
She was asking, alumni to send in pump up videos to just because Wisconsin won the WCHAs, right? They beat Ohio State in that
Yep.
game. And I shouldn't say that. Ohio State beat themselves in that game. I don't want to hand that one fully to Wisconsin, but it was a win for Wisconsin nonetheless. They won the WCHA title. And this was a rematch of last year. Last year they beat us, 1-0. Their goalie played out of her face. And then, this year it's a rematch. We get to come back and, they can have the WCHA. We'll take the national championship, baby. Woo!
Nice.
But I don't know. Text Muzz. I'll hear back from her. I don't know. Whenever she's ready. I don't care. I just love seeing all the pictures and how happy the girls were. And I just, from alumni weekend at the beginning of the season to now, you just follow along and you really care for them because you get to know some of the kids and their parents. And you just see the work that they put in and how much they love the school that you went to and that you love too, right? So it's nice to see that our program finally got to where we all wanted it to be. So, I mean, we're not really a part of it, but we kind of take a little piece
No,
of it,
it's
if you
still a
will.
we. Malte and
Yeah.
Spooner were rocking their varsity jackets today, walking into the game.
I know.
Looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
Nice to see everybody rally around it.
Totally.
Shout out
I should
also.
have I should have
Yeah, you
my
should.
jacket on. Who am I?
I know. I haven't actually seen you wear that in person, but I feel like I've seen a ton of photos of you in it.
Can you give me one second?
You're about to go get it. Yeah, I know.
100%.
Stand by, everyone. Do, 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 do. There it is. Nice. That's such a tough jacket, too. I love it.
That's a proper Letterman jacket right there. This is the jacket everybody wants.
Yeah, that's sick. Just
Thank
all
you.
appreciate it for a moment.
Yeah.
What a thing of
In
beauty.
all of its glory. This one is a big one. Anyways,
When do you
carrying
get
on.
that?
Go
right
Bucks.
when you get there? Go Bucks.
No, you don't get that right when you get there. This is the last thing you get.
Really? You got to make it all the way
You
through.
graduate and you get this. Yeah.
Damn, that's pretty sick. So
Mhm.
nobody's really walking
earn
around
this-
on campus with one of those babies.
Well, if you're a graduate student, maybe.
Okay.
Or it
fair
just
enough.
takes you a couple years to get your
No
undergrad.
hate, safe place here on the Jocks and Jills podcast. We always
Yeah.
say that.
Yeah.
While we're on the college hockey topic, shout out to this year's Patty Kaz winner, Tessa.
Yes.
Izzy Daniel this year, first player from Cornell to win the award.
Love it. You
So-
saw Jill Saunier popping off. You saw Brianne Jenner going off about it. Nice to see. And it's nice to see the love shared and pushed around. I remember
Totally.
getting so upset years past where I'm like, there's a few other people from different schools other than Wisconsin and Minnesota that deserve this. Sophie Jakes won it one year, which is awesome, and that was incredibly deserved. She probably could have won it back-to-back years, but Taylor Heisey spoiled that party in the first year, rightfully
Yeah.
so. But I'm happy and I'm proud of the effort that young lady put in, and nice to see that she was rewarded for her efforts.
100%. Speaking of the love around, I had my first PWHL broadcast this week it was a Toronto and Boston game, and it was a great game. First of all, Toronto had the streak going at that point. It was Lexia Gia's first game in Boston. And did you hear, by the way, how crazy her week was? She was like in New York when she found out she got traded. She got called like just a little bit after the trade deadline. She had to go to Connecticut to pick up her gear, then fly to Ottawa, then drive to Toronto. Then, anyways, it was a whole thing. The game was really fun.
What?
I kind of got off track there.
Why was she in New York?
Because they had just had a game in New York.
When? Oh, yeah, Ottawa at New York. Oh, my gosh, on the Wednesday.
Yeah. And the gear, so she was just enjoying a day in New York City. Her gear was still in Connecticut. So it involved even more travel than it was supposed to. But anyways, the game was awesome. The girls were all awesome. I know, Tessa, that we made this podcast specifically, so this could be like a chill place to talk about women's hockey and the game. But there's a little bit of mushiness in my heart for that game because it's just such a nice environment to be around. Like, working those games is such a privilege. It's such a nice space. Everyone in the arena, from fans to game ops to the players, like, imagine working any other hockey game and being on the bench and getting your outfit complimented by a player. Like, shout out to you, Renata Fast. I'm on the bench ready to do it in the game. And she's like, wow, I love that set. I'm like, thanks, it's from Joe Fresh, actually. It's from a grocery store. She's like playing a game, playing 30 minutes a night, but still has the time to do that. So I just love that sort of thing. And so much love, Tess, for the podcast at the Madame Athletic Center night. Like, every week, it's more people that want to chat about it. So we appreciate so much whenever anybody wants to talk women's hockey with us, whenever anybody wants to talk Jocks and Jills with us. So we love you guys. Thank you for that.
I feel like, you mentioned all the fans that are there and how nice the atmosphere is. And I think that, no one is there with the sentiment that, like, they paid money for that ticket, so this is what, the entertainment or whatever should be. And they're just there because they love the game as much as we do. And they're just so happy that they finally get to watch it like we do. And they're just as pumped and proud of the players as we are. And so it's just, it's like every game is a little mini celebration of, like, all right, we did it. Now let's, like, keep pushing, keep thriving. And I think that's an incredibly great energy to be around. And I think that's what makes the games a little bit extra fun, if you will. I don't know. I love it too. I love that everybody we talk to. Yeah. I love that everybody that we talk to, though, is like, they've always got to mention who they want on. I don't know if that happens to you, but every time somebody's like, oh, okay, but listen, this is, you got to get, how many times do I get Emily Clark?
I know. We're getting there, guys. We promise. We will get Emily Clark on very soon. There's so many repeat suggestions, and we are going to get to all of them, guys. We promise. You were talking about the incredible energy. You're alone with the kidlets right now. How is your energy right now, my dear friend?
Today was a good day. It was, bedtime was a struggle. Bedtime's a battle, man. That's when I feel like they know you're at your weakest, and they know, like, this is the time to strike. I swear to God. Is that what it is? That's how they are. Yeah.
Like gremlins? Yeah.
Legit, middle of the day, I, like, slammed half of a Red Bull, and Theo saw me, and we call it coffee. And so just so they know, like, because they're colorful cans, I don't ever want them to ever get their hands on, like, this coffee, only mom and dads drink that. And so in his mind, it's hot. Okay. So he was like, Mom, you're drinking coffee? I'm like, Mommy's really tired right now. And so he was like, literally heel turned and walked right downstairs and started playing downstairs with his sister. And I was like, cool. So he knows the signs, right?
Yeah.
But legit, like, he had skating in the morning. We were ripping around. Like I said, we went to our neighbor's house for a nice dinner, cheered for the Buckeyes. And then it was like, you know what it was? I gave them a little bit of ice cream after dinner. And so, yeah. So my kids were like sugar rushing and sugar crashing. And so, yeah, I don't get any mom points by any means.
Actually,
Ed's living his best life in Costa Rica right now. So
love that for him.
Me too.
We haven't handed out the partner points. Ed, honestly, he should get points for living his best life. But today I was doing some shopping for Women's Worlds at the outlets in Niagara. I was in Niagara for I'm wearing this hat right now. Kruger Big Assist. Both of us are Kruger Big Assisting.
Yeah, right.
You know, we can shout him out.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I was visiting with the minor hockey program there. It was honestly a really fun day. Stopped at the outlets in Niagara, and I find my boyfriend to be a very positive person, like in almost all aspects. You bring that guy into a mall, you lose him. Like he has a bad attitude in a mall. But today,
Totally
he
understandable.
really went
Can't blame
out of
him.
his way. He was nice in Aritzia. He was nice in Sephora. Not like over the top, but you know, a mild smile on his face. He nodded at me a few times. There's a sitting area in Aritzia. It was kind of full for most of the time we were in there, honestly. But he got to pop a squat at one point. Honestly, I have to shout him out for that because it's been a point of contention. He was very positive today.
And good for him. Look, I'll give him 2 points for that because in my head, I'd be like, I'm going to go in here. There's like, I don't know, a Nike store up the road. Go get lost in there kind of thing.
Sure.
But he puppy dotted along with you.
He doesn't want to do that though. Like he doesn't want any part of the mall. Like you walk into the mall. I think it's something about the lights. I don't know. They don't agree with him. He's not a mall guy. He does not like the mall. He was positive today though, so we got to give him that. Speaking of shopping, we talked about Ratty's line last week. Another PWHL players dropped some sick merch. Yeah, I got to get my paws on some of that MASH merch.
I immediately wrote her right away. I was like, and like even Rattray, buddy.
She actually said something to me at the game today.
Did she?
I actually forgot to mention to you. She said to me, I interviewed her after the first period or something of the Boston Toronto game. She was like, "Oh, you got to tell Tessa, I'm sending her a shirt. I heard you on the podcast." So it will be rectified.
I was like, and not even a text. I was like, not that I want a freebie. I just want to be able to purchase one. I want to be able to go online and get one. Buddy. Anyways, Mash's line, wicked. I was like, yo, what's your email? I'm sending you money. Send me whatever piece you think is best. And she was like, oh, I love the khaki colored too. I was like, cool, I'll rock it, man. Nice. Send it my way. And if it got in, it would have gone beautifully with this national championship jacket.
Oh, you're right.
But whatever.
That would be nice matching. Mm-hmm. It'll be
anyways, kudos to her. Guys, go check out her line. It's awesome. It's all about goalies. I'm a goalie lover. I love goalies.
Always had a special relationship.
Goalie lover, 100%. Look, I came up with like Kim St. Pierre, Charlene Labonte, Shannon Zabada, Sammy Joe Small. Cool crew, man. Awesome crew. And they all hold a special place in my heart. And I feel like they molded me a little bit throughout my career in a sense, in a lot of different ways. So, yeah.
We love it. All right.
All love for the goalies.
Goalies. We love you, goalies. And with that, let's get to our headlines of the week in the PWHL. All right, headlines this week in the PWHL. 4 games to catch up on, but the big news this week, Tess, Toronto gets their streak to 11, but it ends there. PWHL Ottawa snaps the streak, and we said earlier this year they've got the best fans in the league. They were actually chanting, Tessa, snap the streak, snap the streak in the dying seconds of that game. Like, that's pretty epic, Ottawa. I got to give you guys that.
Ottawa gets it. Ottawa booed Poulet. You kidding me? They know what's up. Their fans are
the Battle of Ontario.
They don't take it lightly. I'll tell you that much, and they love it. And what I love was that it had been, gosh, what would the days be? Where are we? We're in March. The last loss that Toronto had suffered was at the hands of Ottawa. January, what was it? 23rd.
Yeah, way back when.
Okay, so let's just put that on the table and just talk about being able to pick your opponent in the playoffs if you end in first place.
Yeah.
Doesn't that leave you scratching your head? Because now the top 4 teams in the league are Toronto, Minnesota, Montreal, Ottawa. And it's like you're scratching your head at all of them, kind of like, man, who do I want to face?
Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't want to be the one to make any one of those calls. But even in that game where Toronto's 11-game streak was snapped, we got to mention Natalie Spooner again. She had 2 goals. Were they both in the first period, if I'm remembering correctly?
They had a 2-0 lead.
She's a monster. She continues to be a monster this year. She was great in that game versus Boston as well. She had a sick goal in that game. Yeah. Tough that they don't get another crack now. And it's hard to say anything about Toronto's tough. But man, now you got to sit around and wait until, and I'll stop myself again because it's not sitting around and waiting. Not most of, but a lot of the girls are playing over the international break, but April 18th,
Yeah.
you got to wait till. It's a long time.
I know. There's two ways to look at it, right? Like, okay, that happened. Let's just throw that thing away and forget about it. Right?
Yeah.
Or, because if you look at the NHL side, Edmonton went into the All-Star break on streaking. And then after the All-Star break wasn't so great. So maybe, and I had said before, I want them to run into a little bit of adversity. I just wasn't sure when, but I wanted it to be before. Maybe this is it. Because let's be honest, that game against Boston, that was a come-from-behind win. They snuck away with that one. I don't want to say snuck away because they played great, but
I don't know. They had a tough first 40. Like their first 40 was
brutal.
Ugly. And like
Both
Troy said that every team was like every player on the team rather was like that first 40 was completely unacceptable from us.
But truly, both games, their first 40 wasn't necessarily that hot. I mean, yes, they were up, but it wasn't Toronto hockey the way they'd been playing. I do have to give a shout out though to Sarah Nurse. I feel like, after that massive Olympic performance that she had, I feel like people were expecting massive things from her and stuff. And like, she's doing the little things right and finding ways to contribute and create in different ways. Like on that one Spooner goal in the power play, she, held the blue line. On Spooner's first goal, she had a deflection in front and the puck ended up going back around to Renata Fast, I think. Was that Fasty's goal? So there's like stuff that she's just playing a solid 200-foot game. And it's like, yeah, cool. And she's not too proud to do stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like that's leadership there for me. And I think that's what's making this Toronto team successful. And albeit, sure, there was a loss and there was a tight one on Wednesday, but like I said, those losses need to happen to sometimes give your players a swift kick in the rear, if you will.
Yeah.
And for Ottawa,
honestly, maybe they should let it fester. Good comeback after the break, kind of mad about it. Ottawa, to your point,
right?
Points in 5 games straight, 2 wins in a row. Little bit of a heater here, PWHL Ottawa. I like to see it.
The month of March for Ottawa has been like some kind of awakening, starting with their shootout loss to Minnesota. They brought Minnesota to a shootout loss. And at the time they were like, I think tied for first with Montreal back then.
Right.
Still, Minnesota's a force, right? They followed it up with a win over Montreal. Again, the top team. So there's the 2 top teams in the league that they're like, nah, we're taking it to you guys. Took points.
Yeah.
They had a great performance in Detroit, but they lost that game nonetheless. I mean, Clarkie's goal in that game was wild. That was awesome. Albeit they didn't get the win. Totally fine. But then they didn't look back ever since. And they're just cruising. And it's almost like the law of averages, if you will. Carla McLeod's been preaching it the entire season, where she's like, look, we are out shooting, we are out chancing, we are winning more face-off, possession time, like we're doing good. We just are having a really hard time, getting those goals or not allowing goals. Like, remember they were giving up goals late, like blowing leads and stuff. But the one thing to me that totally sticks out is like the players that they had signed or brought on their team to make them successful are finally scoring. Like you got Daryl Watts, Jenner, Clark against New York getting those goals. Like Jenner with a goal and assist. Watts, yes, you should be scoring, girl. Like you're a player.
How electric
we all know
is she, man? That hat
trick.
Bud
scores a hat trick. I mean, I've seen a hat trick. I don't care. It's a hat trick. You're in it. You're on it. Skamura getting a goal as she should. Jenner in that last game getting a goal and 2 assists. These players, I don't want to harp on them, but they should have been doing this all season long. You know what I mean? You're doing that. You're taking more games. You're not losing 3-2 to Boston back in January. Those are your games. You're not losing 2-1, in overtime to Montreal. You're getting probably 2, maybe 3 goals a game. And I feel like you look back at their last bunch of games, they had 5, they had 3, okay, 1 in Detroit, whatever, but then they had 4, then they had 3. It's like now they're really starting to find the back of the net and get that cruise control going with their goal scoring. And again, I don't want to bring this up again because I know we did with Hillary already, where it's like it's that time of year. Like, is it? Is that what this is? That time of year we're playing. For these goal scorers that are used to being like, okay, I got to peak in April because that's when the world championships are. You know what I'm
Yeah,
talking about?
yeah, that's an interesting thought. Honestly, it just feels like Ottawa's time right now.
That's when the Frozen Four is going. I feel like everybody's always used to peaking at this time, and all of a sudden, here are all these players just like, right, light switch is on, boom, we're going now. I don't know,
Yeah,
and just with Ottawa, obviously, and
yeah,
with
I feel that.
Hill.
Of
Yeah.
course.
Anyways, I got fired up about that.
I like it. And we get to see Hillary one more time before the break. One more game before the World's break. It's Boston, New York tomorrow night. It's two teams at the bottom of the standings, but it feels kind of big for both teams. Nobody wants to go into that long break, um, on a sour note. And it's a long time between games and sets the momentum kind of for the other side. It feels like it has significance.
Yeah, it should. I mean, for both of these teams, because quite frankly, points are at a premium. What? There's 15 games left after this one total on the season.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'd gone over who all these teams have. And the team with the easiest schedule, Julia, following the break, is New York. They only have one game on the road, and it's in Montreal, the first game back. Right?
Yeah. They could cause
They're
some
5
havoc.
points behind. They're 5 points behind Boston right now. Let's say they get a regulation win tonight, Monday night. Okay? Then they're only 2 points behind Boston. Right?
Yeah.
They've faced Boston. Huh?
Doesn't feel over.
No. They play Boston on the 24th of April. That's their second game back from the break. You don't think Abby Rock's going to be fired up?
For sure.
She's going to be rested.
Yeah.
She's going to be fired up. I don't know. I like this. Boston, they've got 3 of 5 on the road. New York on the road, Ottawa on the road, not easy. Minnesota on the road. They end their season against Montreal. It's tough. The last games that all these teams have, this is going to be crazy because everyone's going to be so tired, and I'm so excited for it. But at the same time, I feel so bad.
Yeah,
for a lot of the players that are going to play at Worlds.
For sure.
God.
Yeah. So just like you mentioned, the 4 teams at the top of the standings who are currently in playoff position. Toronto 36 points, Minnesota right behind them with 35, Montreal 31, Ottawa 27. All those teams have 5 games remaining. Like anything could really happen between those 4 teams. Tess, I'm going to put you on the spot right now. May 5th, that's the last day of the regular season. If you had to guess 1, 2, 3, 4 right now on the record, unfortunately, because we do record these shows,
yeah,
what would they be?
The way Ottawa's playing right now, if they can continue this production, if you will, I think they're safe at 4th. That said, if Boston goes into the break with a win and Hillary's back on fire, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then Hillary goes to Worlds and catches fire again. I think Boston can be trouble. And as long as I feel like New York is going to be the team that's going to be the spoiler for everybody. When a team really needs points, they're going to be the team that's like well rested and playing at home that are just going to take it to people and really ruin days.
For sure. There's something about that New York team that would love that. Like even if we can't get in now, we will take satisfaction in absolutely ruining this for you.
100%. Absolutely. Be the spoiler.
Yeah.
But also you have to get, if you're out of it, I'm not saying like, I don't think anybody's eliminated yet. If you're out of it, you still need points to get the first overall pick. So you're still really cruising for games, right? And for wins. But 22 days is a long time off. So I don't know. I haven't looked into the CBA rules or anything. What, if the players have to be on the ice or if they have to be off of the ice and away from the rink for a certain amount of time. The ones that aren't at Worlds, I'm not sure. I should find that out.
Yeah, we'll check into that actually for next week. Well, that's a good point for
22 days off. That's a freaking break.
Yeah. Actually, now that we've brought up Worlds in our headline segment, we're just about a week away, just over a week away. I'm going to Kingston tomorrow for Canada's Media Day. They've got a game Saturday against Finland. Tessa obviously announced their roster back on March 7th. the two
Yeah.
players making their debut at the tournament, the Gosling cousins from London,
That's pretty cool.
Ontario. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Julia and Nicole, they're going to make their senior national team debut. Ashton Bell's back on the roster for the first time since the 2021-2022 tournament. And Zandy Hart, Rebecca Johnson, Claire Thompson, the players from last year's team that are not on the roster for Team Canada. So, I don't know. You got any thoughts on the Canada roster before I start rambling about USA?
Yeah, I feel like if you're looking, at history and who you end up playing with, who you end up playing against in the biggest games, you're looking at the American roster and the fiery youth that it has within it. We'll get to their roster in a minute. So from the Canadian side, you can't ask Poulin, who hopefully she's 100% by then and able to give her, to carry the load and to be everyone's savior again. Like, I want to see a big tournament from Serdachny. I want Spooner to emerge as someone that's like, I got this, and it's not just in the P-dub. Like, this is who I am, which we all know she is. I want to see that on the international stage. I want Laura Stacey just to keep doing what I you know what it is? This is what I want to see from the Canadian ladies. The confidence that they play with their PWHL team. I want to see that transfer over onto the international stage, no matter what role they're playing. Right? Ella Shelton, buddy. Like, I'm such a fan. I love the way she's playing. And to be fair, I think maybe I've seen it once with the national team. I want to see that every game with the national team from her. Like, imagine that back end.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. We won't get too deep in the weeds on the rosters, decor. I guess, because, it's sick. But I guess we'll do a full Worlds preview next week in the space between when there's no PWHL games and just the Worlds coming up. So we won't get too deep in the weeds on the roster. But USA doesn't have a roster announced yet. They're holding a 39-player camp at the Lake Placid Olympic Center in Lake Placid, New York, from March 27th to March 30th. So at that camp, players are going to be split into two teams. They're going to compete in practices and scrimmages. One pre-tournament game against Czechia also on Saturday. Final roster announced Sunday, March 31st. So a week from right when we're recording this podcast. And you mentioned the youth on Team USA, Tess. Like, that is obvious in the numbers. 26 of the 39 players invited to this camp are NCAA players. So they're leaning young.
And the thing nowadays, like back when I played, if you were young, like, you literally did not have a lot of experience. We didn't have under 22s. Like, we didn't. Right. Like, my experience playing at Ohio State was playing against UMD, where Carolyn Willett was there, Chewy was there. They had like Erica Holtz, Maria Root. Like, they had a ton of Olympians from everywhere. So you're basically playing an Olympic team of like mishmash, people from everywhere. Potter was there. Oh my God, what a nightmare that team was. Or like, you're playing against the Gophers that had Darwitz, Wendell, Kelly Stevens, Kennedy. Like, you're like, you guys have 3 lines of Olympians. This isn't fair. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But nowadays, like, it's kind of like, okay, these kids that are in college, like, you'll see when they come out in the draft next year and they're on these teams in the PWHL, everyone's going to be like, holy shit. Because these kids can play and they got confidence and they're used to seeing Natalie Spooners and they're used to playing against each other, wearing their country's jerseys on an international stage for something. And they battle tooth and nail for gold. And it's like, okay, so they already have that in them and they get to the Worlds and I'm like, all right, we're doing this again. Let's go. Like, I want to be the one. And they do. And they play like it. And it's like, uh-oh. And they got that youthful glow and energy. And you're like, I'm not saying, Canada's old and decrepit by any means, but they are definitely far more senior by a lot than this American team that could be. And, a lot of those players just played in that national championship game from Wisco and Ohio State. And it's like, they're going to have a fire lit under their butt too. So, it'll be interesting to see the way that lineup comes together. The one thing that I will say with the American roster is like, the roster can be great, but coaching's going to make or break that team. And with a youthful roster, I hope that, he's got a handle on it and it's just breathing positive stuff into those kids. And especially Hill. I feel like Hill too, like as a leader, she's going to have to be, I want to say the mom of the dressing room, but I feel like she's going to have to carry that role and make sure that, that dressing room is like the safe place. And like, you're going to have to talk people up or off a ledge or whatever. Cause I feel, I don't know. I just feel like that's what's lacking from that team in years past. And they've got the skill and the talent. I'll tell you that. They're going to be so scary fast.
Oh
I'm
my
so
gosh,
stoked to watch. I can't tell you how excited I am. But I love that we're there. Like, we're not covering from studio. We're there.
Oh yeah. I'm so excited.
In person.
It's going to be awesome. I'm getting fired up.
And
USA Hockey, we have to give a shout out to their new series. Defending Their Ice. It's out right now. I believe it's up to episode 3, but every week a new episode drops on the NHL network. It's also available on USA Hockey's website and their Facebook. It's basically a docu-series. Yeah, it's basically a docu-series that starts game 1 of the rivalry series this year all the way till the end of the World Championship. So the last episode is going to come out April 20th. So we'll see right till the end what happens if USA ends up defending their gold or not. It's a really cool behind the scenes look kind of everything that's happened up until this point this year. So shout out to that. It's very cool to see behind the scenes. And the Team USA girls are such characters, and
I know
it's a really good look into their personalities, this docuseries.
And I like that because it sheds light on, for us too, when we potentially have some of those players on. I feel like, we get to know them a little more, because I feel like we only have so much of a reach that, to really get to know people. And, obviously at the Worlds, we try and do as much of that as we can, rub elbows with them, shoot the breeze and whatnot. But I feel like I appreciate those docuseries, and I love them. I mean, who doesn't love a good behind the scenes
look?
Let's be real.
Yeah, it's the best. Well, more sports are getting into them. Like, I became
100%.
an F1 fan from the docuseries. I'm fully willing to call myself out. I'm obsessed with the golf one as well, Full Swing.
Yeah.
I love that one. I haven't watched the new season yet, though, so no spoilers, guys. Please.
Well, I don't. If you email in, I'll just make sure I check it.
Okay, thank you so much. So that's what's up this week in the PWHL. We're getting geared up for Worlds. Let us know if there's anything you want to see from Worlds. We're going to be there. So,
we'll probably be posting a lot of behind the scenes stuff, some fun, silly things. I feel like I'm going to take over our social media, Julia.
Nice.
Stories.
Oh, God, that scares me. She's going to be butt dialing on our Instagram stories. So I'm going to have to keep a close eye on our Instagram.
Just creeping on Julia, being a creep for getting her nasty ass brush on teams' benches and stuff.
Oh, I've been exposed for that so many times.
Thing.
I do clean it. I just have a lot of hair. Stop hating. Look at your hair. Look at my hair. It's different. I've got a ton, dude. I literally run it through once and it's full. It's a mess. This time of year, I'm shedding like a damn horse. Now that I've said that on this podcast, let's get to our player interview this week. Brought to you as always by Nobis. This is a fun one. We've been talking about USA Hockey. And our next interviewee was a staple with that program for a long time. I feel like she's part of the fabric of what they've created with USA Hockey. When we talk about Hillary Knight, I kind of feel like they're a duo.
They were.
Without further ado, Jocks and Jills, our 10th guest on the podcast. It's the one and only Hannah Brandt. Our next guest on the Jocks and Jills podcast, presented by CCM, is a 2-time Olympian with 1 silver, 1 gold, 5-time world champion medalist. She's Minnesota all the way through with 3 NCAA titles with the University of Minnesota, 4 stints in the NWHL and PWHPA. Now she's a stud with PWHL Boston. Please welcome to the Jocks and Jills podcast, the one and only Hannah Brandt. Hannah, we're so stoked to have you here. Thank you for doing this with us.
Thanks for having me.
I heard this is going to be a fun one. I heard you're a good time. You weren't fun to play against. I'll tell you that much.
We'll see.
Yeah. Hopefully you're more fun talking to than you are playing against, because you and Hillary were always a pain in my side. So, which is a good thing, I guess. But nice to have you on. Thanks for taking the time, buddy.
Yeah, of course. It's an honor to be on here.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit about.
That's a bit of a stretch.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
We'll take it though. We'll take it all.
For sure.
Let's start from the beginning, which we kind of always do with people, and talk about your career and how you kind of got to hockey. For you, I believe it was figure skating that you started with, right? But you refused to wear the figure skates. You were just rocking hockey skates from the get-go.
Yep, that's right. I got kicked out of figure skating because I wouldn't wear the figure skates, so kind of forced to play hockey, which was what I think I wanted to do anyway, obviously. So yeah, I got into hockey. I had a good friend in preschool that came from a big hockey family, and our families became friends. And so I got into hockey and really never looked back.
Do you remember anything from that time, figure skating? Like, do you actively remember the meltdowns?
Honestly, not really. I just remember kind of hating it, and then and then just loving hockey so much more, and kind of I think being happy I got kicked out, I guess.
What got you kicked out? The fact that you just couldn't level up because you didn't have a toe pick, or?
I think it was a little bit of that and a little bit of my behavior on the ice. I think you have to kind of do what they tell you to do, and I was not doing that. So yeah,
right.
So this was a show. Yeah.
This was a planned departure, if you will. I didn't quit. They kicked me out. Not my fault.
Mm-hmm. I'm a thinker. I knew what I was doing.
But your sister liked it, right?
Yeah. So she finished. She kept doing figure skating for quite a while, so she was always the better skater between the two of us. But then eventually, I think she wanted to spend more time with me, of course. So she switched over to hockey full time. I think when she was 10, so she was quite a bit older. And then, we played hockey together, U10s, U12s, U14s, high school. And then in college, we went our separate ways. But we did a lot of, we played a lot together. Like I said, she was the better skater. My high school coach would literally tally up every fall I had, make me do push-ups after the game. So he made me work on my skating. But I was a pretty bad skater for a long time. And I think obviously getting kicked out of figure skating wasn't helpful in that.
So you have a cool story with your sister, though. Do you want to be the one to tell it? Your sister and you grew up concurrently playing hockey together, but same age, and she's adopted, and you guys got to go to the Olympics together. Do you kind of want to give the backstory there?
Sure, I can try. So my sister was adopted. My parents were told they couldn't have kids, whatever, so they went through the adoption process. Then I came around, so we came within 6 months of each other, I guess. We're 11 months apart. So we kind of were weirdly twins, but not. We did everything together growing up. And that's why she ended up deciding to play hockey instead, because again, wanted to hang out with me. We went to college separately. She kind of always was shy of her Korean roots and heritage. She just kind of wanted to fit in here and everything. But then after her senior year, I believe she got a call from someone in the Korean Federation, and they asked if she would come over for a tryout, and she had never even been to Korea, never even really shown any interest. But kind of just took a leap of faith and hopped on the plane and went over there, and fell in love with the country, her teammates. And then so she ended up was named to the Olympic team over there before I was named to the U.S. team. So I was extra motivated. I was my sister's going to be there. I better be there too. So obviously she was my first call when I was told I made the U.S. Olympic team. And that was a pretty cool experience for us. I don't know. That was a really quick summary, but yeah.
You did a good job. That was an impressive Coles Notes of your entire life, I got to say.
Yeah. It's pretty crazy how it all worked out. And that the Olympics just happened to be in Korea that year. And Korea got a team in the Olympics. It was and then they ended up getting teamed up with North Korea. It was just a lot of things going on over there.
There was I feel two separate teams. It's obviously at the Olympics, it's fine, you're at the games, but when was the first time you guys actually got to see each other there? Because obviously she would be with her team doing her thing, staying in their house, and you guys are doing your thing. Practice times are different. So when did you guys actually first get to see each other at the Olympic Games, if at all, really?
Yeah, I mean, I would randomly see her walking around the village because I knew what their coats looked like. Luckily too, because they were on the team with North Korea, they actually ended up getting a little bit different apparel. So I could always spot the hockey girls. So I would see a big clump of these white puffy coats, and I would look for my sister, and they all knew me because they just knew I was her sister. And so they would be Hannah, Hannah, Hannah. So it was kind of easier to get around with knowing that they would kind of help me out. But I think the first time I saw her was in the cafeteria. One day I went in there and I saw her, and that was pretty cool. And then going out for the opening ceremonies, I got to see her, and that was like kind of one of like the coolest things ever. Just kind of seeing her in like her opening ceremonies outfit, and then me, and I think I probably teared up a little bit when that happened because that was really cool.
Your sister Marissa, I was chatting with her actually, and she had shared, that was one of the first stories she shared with me, and she was like, it was so great. I got off the bus and I ran in as fast as I could because they were walking out last, obviously, right, being the host country. And she's like, and thank God USA's near the back. And she's like, and they were about to get called out, and I looked and I spotted her, like it was like the sea parted, and we locked eyes, and she's like, and it was the best moment. It was the perfect way to kick off the Olympics. And there's actually a nice picture of you guys standing together too. So it's nice because you guys have like a really unique, special bond, I feel. She told me about a little pregame ritual that you guys have, the say three things.
Yeah.
How did that start?
It was like, well, I think we just kind of always, like, once we separated in college, I think we missed playing together all the time. And so we would just kind of always text each other before each game. And it was like score for me and I love you. And just kind of, I would like write that on her stick at the Olympics, and she would sneak over to my room and do the same thing. So it's just cool to have been able to share that moment with her. We were very close. She's my best friend, and just, it was cool to be able to do that with her. And I think the other cool thing was to be able to share our story. And after the Olympics too, we were able to kind of really reach out to the adoption community, even the foster care community, just kind of, a lot of people were able to kind of relate to my sister and kind of what she went through. I think she was able to, obviously her story is really special, just the way she was kind of able to reconnect with her roots. And the one thing that would have been really cool is if she tried to kind of connect with her birth mom, and that wasn't possible, but that's why she wore her Korean name and all of that. And but again, really cool for her, and her story touched a lot of people, and I was just happy to be a part of it, I guess, too.
So wait, what was the pregame tradition? The three things?
Well, I don't know. I guess I feel like it was just kind of like we would always either text each other, and it was like score for me, I love you. I don't know what the third thing would be, but it was just kind of a little saying we had.
Three nice things they'd say to each other. Sisterly love.
I don't know if I have three nice things to say always, but
you really got to dig some days with your sister. I get it. Me and Tessa both have sisters as well. It's like the closest bond ever, but no one else is allowed to be mean to your sister except for you, of course. Yeah. but if anybody else is, it's trouble. Another part of your childhood that made me smile is so much of the conversation with the PWHL is like, well, we didn't have the opportunity to watch women play hockey when we were kids, but you used to go watch like Natalie Darwitz play for the University of Minnesota. Like how much of an impression did that leave on you?
Yeah, I was so lucky being in Minnesota, being able to kind of go to those Gopher games. I remember I would go through the line and get Gigi's autograph, and now she's on my team here. And but Darwitz, Wendell, it was really, I was really lucky to be able to have that because it was pretty rare. And even the Minnesota Whitecaps were kind of a thing back then. It was. Did you ever play for them, Tessa? I don't know.
No, not the way. I played against him a lot, and I played against Darwitz a lot. What a nightmare. What a player to be able to watch and emulate your game after. I mean, man, what a legend.
Exactly. So I was lucky to be able to have a little bit of women's hockey to watch, but obviously it was never on TV outside of the Olympics. And so I tuned in every 4 years, but that's really not great.
I like how you just straight up called Gigi out. Like, yeah, I was the little kid watching Gigi. Now she's playing with me. You know, just throw her under the bus as an old dog. I wasn't that
little, but I do remember going and getting her autograph. So,
do you still have it?
I'm sure somewhere at my parents' house. Actually, it's up on my wall here. I'm just kidding.
You were talking about your sister and how she just wanted to fit in. When she was adopted in the United States and whatnot. But you guys actually got to go to Korean camp. She did not like doing it, she said, but you loved it. No. What was it about it? And like, what was it? What would you guys do when you go there that was so awesome?
Yeah, so, I mean, I think I was just such a curious child in general. So, like, I was so interested in, like, why she came from Korea. Like, I had so many questions. So I loved Korean culture camp. We would, like, eat all the food, and I would do Taekwondo, and there was just, like, we would learn the language. It was just, I don't know. I loved it. She hated it. So eventually we had to stop going because she didn't want to go. And they were like, well, you can't go if your sister's not going. So then Stop too.
The lone
You
white kid at
attempted to
camp.
though.
Yeah, so I got kicked out of that too. I guess I get kicked out of a lot of things.
That's hilarious.
Friend.
You had mentioned
awesome.
your coach, because every single person I reached out to, my goodness, I got some good vids that I can't wait to share. But you mentioned your coach made you work on your skating because you would fall quite a bit. Like everyone tells me, you are the clumsiest Olympian around. Is that hereditary? Is that just what is that?
You know,
And like, when does it strike? Like, I feel like, do you know, like, are you aware of certain situations like this is going to be bad? I know it, but here goes nothing.
You know, I don't know what it came from. I think we should just blame my parents because I don't know. I don't want to blame myself, but no, I just like fall a lot. I think I don't have good spatial awareness. I don't know. I mean, my friends all say like they blame everything on the fact I was breached. So when I was born, my legs were stuck over my head for a while, and so anytime anything happens to me, they just say breach. So maybe we can blame it on being breached. I don't know. I don't really have a good answer for you.
I like that though. It's
There's
something
good
that you
video
can
of
just
you like
blame.
falling into the net. You've taken out refs. I remember when I played back against you. Is there any specific moment that your teammates just never let you live down?
Oh gosh. Specific one. I don't know if there's a specific one. It's pretty much just anytime something happens for me. They all keep the videos too, and then they pull them up every few days, I swear, to show me something stupid I did. But no, nothing's coming to my head right now. But there's probably too many to think about.
That's awesome. So, watching Minnesota as a kid, was there ever any question as to what school you were going to pick when it came time for you to choose?
Not really. When I got like, it was more just like if they wanted me, and then when they wanted me, it was pretty easy. But Wisconsin was really good at the time I was choosing, so I did have like a little like thing in the back of my head. I was like, maybe I should think about that. But being from Minnesota, it was really a dream of mine to play for the Gophers, and I obviously do not regret that whatsoever.
Yeah. So how do we even talk about your college career? Because it's insane. 3 national titles. You were the captain there, Patty Kaz nominee. Like, you did it all in college. I heard you say in a different interview that each one of your national titles was really like individual and different.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to maybe try and define how each one of them was
I can
kind
try.
of special?
I can try. Well, the first one was pretty cool. Freshman year, we came in, didn't lose a game, so 41-0 that year.
Crazy.
That's fun. And then
no kidding.
the next year, we won every game except 2, and one of them happened to be one of the losses happened to be the national championship to Clarkson. So I'll forever hate Clarkson. I remind Ratty of that every day, that I really hate them. And so then my junior year, we came back, beat Harvard in the national championship. That was fun. That was at home ice. I remember the only crazy thing from that game was it was, again, at Ritter. I saw my dad before the game, like when you come in on the red carpet, he was there. And then after the game, my sister like ran down and was like, don't panic, but Dad's in the hospital. And I was like, how am I not supposed to panic? So we won, and then I found out he needed like emergency surgery. It was like a hernia thing, but it was really bad. But he's like fine, no issues. It was just like, I was like, how did you miss like the one time I play a national championship at home, whatever. So that was kind of scary and sad, but fine. Like he's a fine. So
what happened? Like, what's the story with that? Like,
he just like I don't know, whatever like a hernia situation was. It was like emergency though. Like he just drove himself from the red carpet thing to the hospital, had surgery, and he's still like friends with the doctors or the surgeons that did it. Like they knew everything that was going on because he like woke up from surgery. He was like, did they win? So yeah, that was.
And he didn't tell anybody that he was doing. He just
I think he just left, and then I think he told my mom that he was going. I don't even know if he did though, actually, because she probably would have like not let him drive himself. So, and then
such a dad move.
Oh, such a dad move. And then I was at the World Championships that year, and I want to say that was the Malmo year. So he worked with the surgeon, was like, I need to get on the flight to go to Sweden or whatever. So like 2 weeks later, not even that long, he was like on a flight overseas, which he shouldn't have been doing either. So dads can't keep them in line. And then my senior year, I think my senior year was the most special because that was actually in New Hampshire, which I was just there yesterday watching the Frozen Four. So that brought back some good memories. But we weren't necessarily expected to win that year, and we beat Boston College, who I'm good friends with a lot of those girls, and they were 40-0 going into that game, and we beat them. So because we were kind of like prideful in the fact that we were part of the 41-0 year, so we didn't want to let them do that. And yeah,
That's
so that was
awesome.
kind of fun too.
You mentioned Malmo. What's the school test or the test you have to do in Malmo? What's the story with that?
Oh, well, I was in school at the time, and I had a microbiology test I had to take. It was good.
Well,
it went really well. Yeah. I think it went really well. Thanks for asking.
That's it. That's all you're sharing.
So I had some. Yeah, no, it was good. Yeah.
So Hillary just gave me a nothing story on you.
Yeah, she doesn't.
There's no backstory on that. You just took a test in Malmo, and it went well.
It really didn't go well at all.
I figured that was
Yeah.
It's okay. You made it out well in life. What's a microbiology test here and there?
How bad?
Yeah, no, it wasn't terrible. I think it was like a C, but I had some girls like attempting to offer some assistance, and they were not helpful. Let's just leave it with that. So.
Was Hillary one of them?
Yeah.
Mm.
And she's a history major, so you can just guess how that went.
Yeah, but I don't see her as a microbiology girl.
No.
That's awesome.
Malmo was a fun time. We had a lot of fun that trip. It was a good team.
And a great spot.
Yeah, I really
beautiful
liked that
city.
place.
Yeah, it's wicked.
Yeah. Going back to the national championships, you're talking about how all three of them were different. I'd imagine all three celebrations were also different. Did one of them involve the trophy being broken or chipped that you want to divulge right now?
Yeah, that would have been my last one. And I thought the one good thing is they do give you 2 trophies. So the one we had, I think, I don't know if that's like the extra, but it did end up with a little chip in it. I don't know how that was caused, but I thought putting Sharpie over that would save it. And I mean, honestly, in photos, it did, but I'm not sure that maybe I should have gone and bought some you can buy wood paint that probably could have matched the color a little bit better. But yeah, Frosty, I don't think was too thrilled to be leaving the trophy with us. Especially Lee wasn't there that year because she was off to Worlds. I wasn't at Worlds that year. So he left me in charge, and I think he knew that was probably a bad idea, but that's okay. It's all good.
So you couldn't return the damaged one and take the good one?
No.
And who's the culprit? You don't know? You don't know who the culprit is that chipped
I actually don't know I don't know when that actually occurred. It could have been on the ice. I don't know. I'm not going to name any names, so.
You're not suing anybody except for poor Gigi Marvin for being an old dog. Poor Gigi.
That's awesome.
It's funny, the girls I'm going to sue her again, but the girls on our team this year thought she was 42. So when she turned 37, they were...
Why did they think that?
I don't know. I'm not sure where that started, but someone on the team thought she was 42, and I was like, Gigi is not 42, you guys. Wow, poor Gigi.
Did someone give her a card happy 42nd birthday?
No, but that's what they were guessing, and then they told her that's what they thought. I was like, poor Gigi.
Oh, no.
She does not seem like she's 42, so.
That's hilarious. I feel like that transitions us well into what's the Boston dressing room dynamics like? You've got yourself and Hillary, kind of big dogs from Team USA. You mentioned Ratty from Team Canada. What's the dynamics like around Boston? Yeah, we have quite a good mix. We have some young ones. We got I feel like we have to have the most 30-year-olds too. I don't know. But I do think we have a lot of old ones, and then we have, I shouldn't call us old, and then but we also have people from all over. We have Sweden, Austria, Switzerland, then Canada, the US. So we do have a pretty good mix of people. And Boston's such a fun city. How much fun are you guys having in the city? Yeah, I love the city. I wish we had more free time and more days off, but other than that, it's been really good. This is my first time living out here, and yeah, I really do like the city.
I'm still like learning how to drive on the roads and all that, but it's been overall good.
Yeah, driving in Boston's wild, hey?
Is it? I didn't know that.
Yes.
I thought Toronto was like the end all be all of terrifying
Well, the
driving.
roads
No
are
way.
like this.
Yeah.
Whoa.
You can't drive straight on a road for more than like 2 blocks. If that happens, like that's like a miracle.
The Big Dig is
Oh, I
done,
didn't
right?
know
Like they
that.
put a bunch of the roads underground. Like that's all done.
I mean, there's a lot of tunnels, so maybe.
Yeah. Back when I was
But
visiting
curbs are,
schools,
like-
the Big Dig was happening.
Oh, okay. Yeah, then there's a lot of tunnels. The tunnels are confusing. Like, you just kind of do 50-50 is my strategy. Like, when they start splitting off, I just pick one and hope it's right. But, yeah. We had a couple tragedies on the road, so it's all good.
Are you directionally challenged? I heard you got lost a few times in the Olympic Village.
Yeah, I do get lost a little bit, but honestly, like the GPSs just can't keep up out here.
Because
The
of all the
roads are too
roads.
crazy. At the Olympics, though, we did get lost. And Chloe Kim was like off to her. She's the snowboarder who won gold. She was off to do her thing, whatever the thing they do is, and we were in the mountain village. We were going to go up there to like watch. We were on an off day. We were going to go watch some skiing or something, and Chloe Kim actually like kind of directed us around, so that was pretty cool. Very nice lady.
Are you a big snowboarding fan? We've heard that you're like
Yeah, how's the snowboard career coming?
To be a pro snowboarder.
I was a one and done in the snowboarding in my snowboarding career.
Why would you like you win the Olympics? Everyone's like, yeah, let's go hit the hill, let's go skiing, and you're like, cool. I'm just gonna snowboard for the first time in my. Was that the first time ever snowboarding? It was.
Yep, first and last. Yeah.
And how'd that go? How's the butt? You healed?
Terrible. I think I had like 12 concussions probably. No, I was wearing a helmet, thankfully, but it was not good. I wanted to die, I think.
You're like, what? Did you end up only going down once? Your wipeouts were huge.
I think we went down at least twice because I remember having to try and like get myself to the lift again, and it was just not good. And I can kind of ski. I don't know, like I'm actually a pretty good skier. I think I'm probably close to being an Olympic skier, but snowboarding is not my thing.
You just said that with a straight face. You mean it? You're almost like an Olympic skier.
No.
Yeah.
I can smell the sarcasm, but I love it. I appreciate your love for rollerblading because I grew up in a time when blades came out and it was the wickedest thing to do to rollerblade to school, but you don't let that die. You're huge on blading. But what are the butters? What does that mean? What's the butters?
The butters is like the smooth, like where there's no like cracks and there's no like I don't know when like the sidewalk kind of like lips up above the other one. Yeah, there's none of that. It's just smooth. It's great.
So if
So
there's
nothing like that in Boston.
No, there's no butters in Boston.
Brutal. So if there's like a place that you got to go and you have your bike and your blades by the door, what are you grabbing?
Bike and blades. I'd probably grab my blades. If there's butters. If there's no
that's my
butters, I'm
favorite
not.
thing.
Yeah. If there's no butters though, it's like not worth it.
Yeah, I like that. I have one friend who is like committed to the rollerblading still. Like she rollerblades. She works for the NHL and she literally rollerblades to the office at Bay Street.
It's too much of a liability though.
She's so committed to it. I love it too. She's downtown Toronto ripping blades.
Do your blades
Does she
have
ever
like
fall?
the heel stop?
Yeah. So that's what I struggle with. I don't have the heel stop. I just have the hockey ones, and I drag my foot behind me, and I've ended up with road rash so many times. And I'm not even very good, so I don't know why. I think I could just rip around on rollerblades when there's hills and stuff, and I don't have little brakes at the back.
It's so dangerous.
Back brake is mandatory.
I've been called out. I got to get it, but I just like to go fast, I guess.
I have the back brake, and I got made fun of for it, but it's the only way to stop.
Oh, that's how you
only
have to
way
do
to
it.
stop.
Who's making fun of you?
I don't.
Everyone. Except you two. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. This is a safe place here on the Jocks and Jills
We're a
podcast.
safe space.
We encourage safety while rollerblading, but no like knee pads or anything like that. Not that far.
Remember the wrist
But
guards?
like you need full like coverage for when you do fall. Otherwise,
That's what I still have a scar from like one summer. I was just being a goof. The very first summer I was going out with my boyfriend, and I like road rash from my shin to my quad, trying to be a beauty ripping around the neighborhood. And I still have a little bit of a scar. It's It's deserved, every bit of the pain that I felt that day. You got to be wearing pants.
Yep.
Every single person we've had on the podcast has some kind of quirk about them that we find endearing and a little bit funny. I feel like yours, just based on talking to a couple people, is you have this like strange obsession with pylons. Where did that start, and what brought that on?
Oh gosh, you guys really do your digging, don't you?
We do a little digging.
You know,
You got to.
there was this one time we were in upstate New York, just having a fun time, and I decided I wanted to pick up a cone and throw it around a little. And yeah, my friends thought it was funny. They videotaped it, and maybe some other people didn't think it was so funny. That's
the story.
You're
just so matter of fact.
Now I find picking up cones to be one of my hobbies. It's fun.
That's awesome. In terms of other shenanigans you guys get into in Boston, nightclub Tao, is that the spot that you're hitting? Like, are you the social captain there?
No, I'm not. Well, I don't think there's a Tao here, but I was named the social cap one year, and I don't really know why. I don't think that should be my title. But the Olympic year, yes, that was technically my title. But I had a friend that kind of hooked us up at the end of the Olympics. So we all went to Tao. It was super fun. Yeah.
Is that what Keller was talking about, where you guys all showed up in jeans and T-shirts to a nightclub?
Possibly, yeah. It was our last night on the tour in 2018. And
yeah,
I literally was like, yes, sorry, like everyone's really tired. I don't think anyone's going to actually like show up. And then everyone ended up going, and like, she's like, I thought you told me your team doesn't drink. And I was like, well, I didn't know.
When you were thirsty though.
Yeah, so we had a good time. It was a lot of fun. It was a good way to like end the tour, but it was a tough travel day the next day for a lot of people. I don't know if you heard more about Megan's situation, but she showed up at the airport with, I think, just her passport, and that's all she had. So
where was all her stuff?
Where
were her belongings?
She had no money. She had no, and that was like before like Apple Pay, so she had no way to like pay for anything. Yeah. So the Delta lady was a hero and checked her bags for free, and she used her passport and got on a plane.
And left her stuff in New York.
Well, no, the wallet was lost. Like that got left at Tao, I think. But she had all of her belongings.
Right.
She just didn't have a way to like pay for them to get on the plane because again, no Apple Pay, no nothing. And she had her medal. So I think that might've helped.
Yeah, that helps all the time.
Health is great. So
that's a free pass. Yeah. Were you at that Korean frat house party with the jugs of booze?
No, I was not. I don't think. I missed that one.
I felt like you would have been one of the ones that would have tried the
I probably should have been. I don't know. I think I might have been up in the Mountain Village that night. I'm not sure.
In the Mountain Village, it sounds almost more intriguing.
It is.
What were you guys doing?
Snowboarding, obviously.
Well, there was snowboarding up there, probably. They had other fun things to do up there. But
nice. Yeah. Okay, cool. So me and Tessa were talking, and you're someone, just before we let you go, that would have this insight. I feel like Hilary Knight is kind of like a mysterious character in women's hockey because she's like the face of it, but we don't know a ton about her. And you know that she gave us dirt for this podcast. So it's her favorite time of the year coming up. World Championship. She's heating up. What's something about Hilary Knight that you could tell us that the general public might not be aware of?
I think what's the most interesting about her is honestly her diet. If you can ask her about that.
What is it?
What specifically?
I think I'll let her share about it. I think it just intrigues a lot of people because you'd think it would be like maybe something, and it's just not what you'd think.
Like it's poor?
Like she's a big fast food, like big Dunkin' Donuts.
I see all the Chipotle sponsors. Chipotle's pretty clean, no?
I'd hit Chipotle.
I feel like well balanced, but
yeah,
it's just she does a lot of carbs.
Okay, well,
the old carb lover.
It's working. Yeah, I love it. I love the old school, like no kale smoothies, just pasta before games. You got to keep things OG, like the old dogs back in the day.
Yeah, and once she gets on to like a restaurant or something, she'll go there every single day. Like in Minnesota, when she lived there for a little bit, we would have like the same places, and she would literally ask me every day, like, "Can we go here?" Like the same place every single day. I'm like, so yeah. But yeah, feel free to ask me for more things because I will come up with more for her.
For Hillary, perfect.
I would love to return the favor.
Hillary's
Yes.
next, apparently.
Perfect.
All right.
We'll be in
Well,
touch then.
okay, I love it. Well, Anna, thank you so much for the time today. We appreciate the laughs. We love watching you play, and good luck with the rest of your season.
Thank you guys very much.
All right, the Send It segment here on the Jocks and Jills podcast. Send us your questions. We answer them. Our email is jocksandjills@gmail.com. Our Instagram, our TikTok, you can message us there. Our Twitter, it's Jocks and Jills on all those platforms. So send us a message if you guys have a question, you want to reach out to us. Before we get to our questions, Tessa, we want to thank some people who have been instrumental in helping our podcast out recently. First of all, we have social media interns.
Love it. Love them.
We love them. And we're obsessed with them. Tessa, Grace, Annika, Samantha, Caitlin. Most of them are TMU Ryerson Sport Media students. That's the program I went to. It's so hands-on, and I reached out to one of my profs, and he was able to set me up with some of his best students. So they've been helping us get our social media popping and posting, so it's not just you and I and our memes in our heads trying to get our social media going. So, and it's not just them. Like those are our interns are part of our team now.
I just wanted to clarify. There's a Tessa in there that is not me. There's a Tessa in there that ain't me.
This Tessa that you're looking at is not on our social media team.
Not.
We got to censor her on social media sometimes. In fact, we have to keep her between the lines of social media. So, but other Tessa, she's popping at social media.
Good
so she makes up for the social media.
Other Tessa gets
for the both of them.
Yeah.
So
you know,
got their strengths.
It's cool, Julia, because like the second we started doing this, it was like people were so stoked. I had friends that were like, let me help you. And, you know, one of them being Martine Garland, the other one being Nicole Ruda. Just busy people that are reaching out and like, we love what you're doing. We want to help. Genevieve Lacasse, Chelsea Purcell, PWHL. Just supporting people that have, you know, we didn't even have to stick our hand out. They literally put their hand on our back and we're like, hey, we're here for you. And it's like, that is so what this league is about. And so much what we're about. Like we have our hands on these ladies' backs because we want to just continue them being awesome. And these people are like, we see what we're doing. We want to help you too. So let us help you. And it's like, I don't know. It's just so much love.
It's such a nice environment. It's what we were talking about off the top with women's hockey. Like, I don't know. I've had great experiences working in sports, but working in sports, you know, I know it can be like intense and stressful, and it feels really, I don't know, more stressful than it has to be. So we've really enjoyed having these interns and giving them a nice experience because, I don't know, I just think more things in life, people should be nicer generally. So we
100%.
enjoy creating this environment, and the PWHL is an environment like that. We're happy to be a part of it.
Yeah.
With that, let's get to our first question from Kayla Berger. Seems like Tessa knows every single player's mom. How does she know so many? Tessa? Queen of the moms, please answer.
I don't know all of okay. I don't personally always know all of the moms. I know some moms. I know the moms, but I feel like that is because I played hockey a lifetime ago, and their mothers, the kids that are playing now, their moms,
so aggressive.
10 years ago, Julia. So their mothers were probably the kids that are playing now, like just a few years older than me, likely, right? Not too many years older than me. Also fans of the game who had kids who were into the game. So they were keeping an eye. My face, you know, was around on like Wipeout Canada and Battle of the Blades and all that stuff. And I don't know. I feel like going to the World Championships also, like, we care for these teams.
We love seeing the parents.
Yeah, it's not just the Canadian kids. It's like all of the parents. We love seeing them. But I will say this, like, I get to know the parents, not just the moms, okay? I get to know the parents, and there's one parent in particular, a father, which whom I am.
Oh, I have a favorite dad as well. A favorite
Team
Canada dad.
Team Canada.
Okay. Do we have the same one?
He is so much. No one has more fun than this man at any tournament.
Okay, it has to be.
He's on the Jumbotron. It's like his first time he's ever been on the Jumbotron. He's always got a bevy in hand. He's dancing. He's never too cool. Those are my people. I love that. When you're not too cool, so great. Sarah Nurse's dad, Roger. I love that.
Roger's the best. Roger is
He's
the best.
So great.
He's so. I found out recently he's a really high level lacrosse coach, coach and referee as well.
Okay.
Maybe it's just referee. I know referee for certain. And also, he created a core memory for me, Tessa, at the World Championship in Denmark. It was like, I don't know, there not that many. There was decent turnout, but a whole section of Canada fans in the stands, and it was literally my first time in Europe, and he started a Julia chant for me. It was Julia.
Of course he did.
Julia. With all the parents. It was a core memory. I will never forget that as long as I live. Like, I owe him my life just for that.
As much as you had fun in that moment and loved it, he loved it and was having way more fun than you. Like, that's just how that man rolls. I love him. If you're ever at a world championship and you're cheering on the ladies, go find Roger. Go wherever he is. Do whatever that guy's doing. You're having a time.
Okay, well, something we have to do at Worlds is like do a family member ranking for, because another underrated character, World Championships, Hillary Knight's brother.
Yeah.
One of my favorite characters at the World Championships. He's got the cowbell and he's got the chirps, and he always has the most serious look on his face. He's like, look out for him at Worlds. He's that's his kitchen. He's cooking at Worlds.
And you know why Hill is good at the Worlds?
Yeah, that's his spot.
She's got the crew behind her.
She does. Her mom looks exactly like her too.
I know.
She's got a great.
Well, she looks like her mother, is what you mean.
Yeah, I guess that's valid.
Just like you are your mother's twin.
I am my mother's twin.
You are.
You kind of are too.
I'm not as carbon copy as you, but I got
I'm
some Deb in me for
my
sure.
My sister is as well.
Yeah,
that's sweet. We all just kind of turn into our moms, and I like it personally. Every day I feel myself turn more into,
mad.
Like my Nona, and I'm like pleased about it. The other two questions we have are pretty similar. They both have to do with contract length, so I figured we'd put them together. This one's from Jean Langlois or Jean Langlois. I don't know. French or non-French version. We'll include both. Teams currently have 6 players on three-year contracts and 2 to 5 players on 2-year deals. What is planned for the new draft recruits next season? Can't see a team only allowed to sign their affiliate to a 1-year deal, while many of last year's September's high picks are locked in for 3. And then Lynn Galdeman has a similar question. First, she sent us that she likes our show. Tessa, she sees you as a national treasure. I do too. Her question is, do you think that without expansion, the league is going to push a lot of good players to leave the North American market? I know a lot of the players are in their mid-30s, but they only finish college in their mid-20s. Women's ability to stay in the game will be shorter. How long do women like Knight and Poulin see themselves playing professionally? She also included a cover from the Hockey News with your little baby face on it. It says, the face of women's hockey. It made me feel like we should put together a whole bunch of hilarious photos of you, all with Tessa Bonhomme, the face of women's hockey, just to see all the many Tessa Bonhomme faces of women's hockey. There's some good ones.
That one was my college face. What is it? Freshman 15? But
no,
a youthful
you
face,
do not
if
have
you will.
Freshman 15. I find that just like, honestly, like,
but it was
I feel
a good
like my
15.
face is like starting to lean out right now, and I'm just.
As you get older, it happens.
I feel like I still have little cheeks. But I honestly, that photo of you, I'm like, oh, look, Tessa's like 24, 25 in that photo. She's got
I was older than that.
Little cheeks.
I was older than that.
Really?
Yeah.
See, you got a little kid fit. That's not and you're saying it's my freshman 15. I was 27 years old.
I went to school for like 5 years, Julia. I just carried it on. Yeah. Honestly, I feel like that cover only happened because I had a teammate in Erica Vanderveer, a goalie from Ohio State. She worked at the Hockey News, man. She did.
Stop exposing yourself. You are the face of women's hockey.
No, I swear. She had sent that to me, and she was like, check this out, something I'm working on. And I was like, how in God's name? She was like, is it awesome? I'm like, well, yeah, your work's always awesome, but like, there's a lot of great names out there, man, and a lot of good faces. So that one, all right, cool. My mom has like 900 of them, Julia. So if you want one,
I want one.
Drop one in your office.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
you just made it sound like I have an office at work.
My desk, whatever.
You could drop it at like the garbage can that they leave in the corner for me at work.
I'll hide it somewhere and give you a little scavenger hunt. Nonetheless, thanks a lot for sending that in, Lynn. As far as the players on contracts and whatnot go, okay, so there's a minimum of 3-year contracts that every team has to have. There is no maximum. I don't think there's a max, but there's just a min. So you can sign Sarah Fillier to a 3-year. She's going to be signed to a 3-year contract. That's just the end of the story. As far as the players getting pushed out, yes, that unfortunately is the reality of starting a brand new league. However, I feel like every player that is in this league is in it for the right reason, and they get it. And that is that this league is bigger than any single person in it. And it's bigger than us, Julia. It's bigger than any person that is working there, whether you're a front office person, whatever. Everybody's in it for the same reason, because we love this game. It's been far too long that we've been waiting for a league like this. And now that we have it, we're just all loving on each other and you know, making it the best that we can. So those players, unfortunately, are just going to have to find somewhere else to play. I look at, if I was one of those bottom players and I'm like, there's probably an expansion happening in the next 3 years, I'm going to go play somewhere to try and come back and get in if I'm young enough. Now, me at my age, no fat chance, no way. But like, I see, you know, it's a priority for the league, obviously, to find a feeder system and a feeder league until they can set one up themselves, because, you know, financially, it's a lot just to get this league up and running, let alone a minor league system. So hopefully there's a European league out there that's willing to take these players, because it's only going to make their league better. Let's be honest. It's just going to make their league awesome. And then once that takes place, you know, all of these players from the NCAA and U Sport that are coming in, that there's going to be zero dip in the style, the
Definitely
pace,
not.
the skill. Like, it's just only going to keep getting better. These kids are wild. So I see an expansion happening. Maybe I could see it. I mean, depending on how the league does, I have no idea, but my guesstimate would be around year 4 or 5. And it could be one team, it could be 2. And even when it does, I feel like the parity amongst the leagues gonna stay, just because of, like I said, the level of play that these kids are playing at. And, you know, hopefully there's a feeder league where a lot of the players can continue to play. We don't even know what next year's tryouts look like. We don't know how many players are going to be allowed to invite to camp. We don't know how many players are going to be allowed to keep on their practice roster. We don't know that stuff yet. That's all going to come out. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. It's exciting. Like I said, there's a lot of questions that all of you have, and we're going to answer them as best as we can. But that's all I got on that. So,
yeah, lots of them still be determined. So again, as you have questions about the league or about games, or if you guys have any questions about Worlds specifically coming up, I think next week we're going to focus specifically on a Worlds preview. Maybe we'll hit every team, kind of a player to watch from every team. So if you've got questions about Worlds, but the PWHL, as always, fire them to us, jocksandjills@gmail.com, or hit us up on Twitter, X, I guess, Instagram, TikTok, Jocks and Jills on all those platforms. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube. Drop us a like and a rating on Spotify and Apple Music. It really helps us out. And
it's happening, Julia. Keep an eye on our social medias, all of them that Julia mentioned.
Yes,
dropping a contest.
Because we have a contest coming this week. Yep. You guys know our presenting sponsors, CCM. They do so much for the girls' game. And we have more good stuff to give out. I got to cut my stick down this weekend. They sent us some sweet gear from their new women's line, and we have some stuff to give away. So keep an eye on our Instagram and our Twitter specifically this week for contest details, because I think that's where we're going to drop most of them. Until next time, guys, we got one more game and then the World Championship, and then 5 more games, and then we got playoffs. So a lot is happening in women's hockey. It just gets more and more exciting from here on out. So we'll see you next week. Enjoy till then.